The Dynasty Madden League grind in 365.
Your boy XPERT, and I got another episode of the bye week. And we got a bonus episode because I got three guys on here that we're going to talk about their teams. Hopefully next week we'll get the homie T-Pain and his Bucks on here. But we're going to start with the man, the myth, the legend. I'm going to call him Mr. Meme himself because every time I see him in chat, that's all I see. I see a hola, and then I see a meme, and then he's gone for another 3 days before the next hola shows up. And, of course, guys in the Dynasty, you already know who I'm talking about. It's none other than King Flair himself and those Pittsburgh Steelers. What's up, Flair?
What's going on, brother? How y'all doing?
Man, I'm good. How are you doing?
Great. A lot of stuff changing. So been a lot of moving and shaking. But we're starting to get some stabilized around that.
You definitely stay busy. You always got something going on with the kids, some party going on that you're helping with. You stay busy. We appreciate you taking some time out for the guys here in the Dynasty, though.
Actually, some football-related stuff. I think if any of you guys are traveling through Hartsfield International, starting Sunday, I actually wrote a jingle for welcome to. Just finished that, so just been real busy trying to get stuff done. Still here.
Well, let's talk about your Pittsburgh Steelers. Another year, and you're struggling. What's going on with Pittsburgh?
So, I'm in order to be a real champion, you got to admit when you just suck. When I was just sucking, I figured a lot of things out. I'm gonna tell you what it is, and no owner will probably admit it, but most of my games will be close to like the fourth quarter, then the levees breaks. No pun. Most of my games would be close like that, and I had that one season where I could have made it to the playoffs, and some stuff happened. I lost a few games. Then I had that weird sim stuff that happened at the end. But I lost a few games like by 3 points total. Then the next season, the season before this, I went straight. I had like 6 games where I lost, I think, total 13 points. And that just broke my will for a minute, man. So this year I'm struggling. Offensive line issues. I got young guys in place trying to be nice, stuff like that.
Yeah, it doesn't help. You got 2 quarterbacks on the injury report. You got Mason Rudolph, who tore his pectoral this year and is out for 33 weeks. You're going to miss him part of next season as well, almost all of next season. And then Jonathan Tuthill came in and he gets hurt. 2 young guys, 26 and 23, that's hurt. So who is manning the ship in Pittsburgh right now at the quarterback position?
Yo, we got our 2 wins with a kid off the street. I don't even know his name.
His name is Bronson Shable.
Shable. His name is Action Bronson now. That's his name.
He Charles is from the Ohio State University. It's a rookie, 67 overall quarterback. You got him playing as your starting quarterback. You still got Le'Veon Bell back there in the backfield, still doing his thing. But your offense just hasn't really clicked. You can't find a way to get Brandon Cooks and Antonio Brown going at the same time. Your defense is giving up way too many points and yards, and you just are turning the ball over way too much. Is that just a cosmism of your quarterback is young and your offensive line has struggled this year keeping your quarterbacks upright, and so you're kind of forcing the ball sometimes? Is that causing this offense to just stutter?
Yeah, actually, most of that stuff you hit the nail on the head. What's happening is, because I don't have the offensive line, and my offensive line was already kind of getting old when I first got the team, and I tried to go the young route. I draft some good guys that are potentially going to pan out, but a lot of the plays that I had, which I had to change my playbook, are calling for a better offensive line. Le'Veon does get off. I found out some things about Antonio Brown. It's funny when the game has a thing and says, "Oh, we don't know why he dropped that. Is that the Madden curse?" Like Antonio Brown gets a lot of drops for me for him to be who he's supposed to be within the game. But But defensively, like seriously, like a lot of my games, points get like I mean a lot of people get. I mean I even think you got one like a 28-point fourth quarter on me. Like the score is one thing, and then I'm telling you, my defense is good for 3 quarters, but then my offense will keep turning the ball over or something like that. And, you know, if it isn't a fumble, it's a sack. If it's an interception, you know. But I have learned a lot, and I've gotten a lot better. My record doesn't show.
Yeah, the record is not showing that you've learned anything, except that you have an opportunity to draft in the top 5 every single year. Now, and that's what we got to get to next, because that's what the guys in the Dynasty want to hear. You are famous for trading away that first round pick, and you traded again this year. You don't have your number 1 overall pick. You have New England's number 1 pick, which is right now slotted at pick 17. Why are you trading away an opportunity to go get guys that can really help this roster?
No, I don't think I've traded my number 1 pick. I think I'm still. I haven't. I wasn't able to trade last year.
Flair, I'm looking at your picks right now. You have New England's number 1 pick, and you do not have your number 1 pick. There is someone in the chat that has your pick, because you have New England's first pick, which is slotted at 17. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe not the Redskins, somebody has your first pick. And now I'm going to look at it while you explain to me why you continue to throw away your picks, because you don't have a second round, you don't have a third round, you have a first and a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and you traded away your first, and you have New England's pick at 17. But you have an opportunity these past couple seasons to draft some of the top guys, and you traded your number 1 overall pick to the Miami Dolphins. So Tight Work, who is 10-3, 11-3, has the number 1 overall pick plus his pick at the number 1 slot. He also has your second round pick, number 33, which is basically a late first.
So last year I think I had 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s.
Okay.
I haven't. So you know what? Honestly, this year I think that's the only trade where I traded away with my first. I have first round picks on my team, my own first rounders, but I haven't really traded that many. But that's the old Flair. I think
that's the old Flair. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not really trading my first round picks like that. If I can get someone that's available, I'm trying to double up to fix my offensive line and stuff like that for first round, second rounder. So that's really where I'm at with that.
Well, and you can't trade anymore because you're in the bottom 5. So it wouldn't make any difference if you wanted to, because you can't. But let's talk remaining schedule, Flair. You just came off a donut game to the Bengals. Which the big homie, he's had some ups and downs, but you got a very tough game coming up next against the Bus and those Chicago Bears, and then you're gonna beat him.
Yeah.
Flair said he's gonna beat the Bears. I like that. And then you finish with JB, the OG over there with the Denver Broncos. So Flair, are you gonna finish 2-0 to end the season?
Yeah, I'm gonna beat both of them.
Okay, Flair's gonna finish 2-0. So let's talk next year. Is this a team in Pittsburgh that can make the playoffs?
Yes, I think we showed that.
What has to change though in Pittsburgh? What position do you have to improve at to find a way to get this Pittsburgh Steelers offense going and defense playing well and get you into the playoffs?
It's 2 positions. It's offensive line, two and a half. Offensive line and awareness at my DBs. I don't know if you noticed, but I'm in a division with a lot of speedsters, and all they do is go deep. They got OG, you got what's his name? What's the Ravens, and then you got the Bengals, and they all kind of run similar things where they love to go deep. And I'm realizing if your DB can't hang, it's over. Like it's really over. So that's why I gotta get my DB awareness, and of course I'm gonna have to draft a quarterback.
Oh, well, you got pick 17, so hopefully you can draft a quarterback, find a guy to come in here and fix Pittsburgh. Okay, what do you have for the Dynasty before you get out of here, Flair?
Man, I just want to put the Dynasty on alert watch. Flair is back. He's coming back. So some of the trash talking, the personality, finally finished moving into my house. Like now I can kind of devote some more time to really give you the full Flair experience. You got a lot of copycats and imitators out there, but they can really bring it like me. So I'm gonna do it. I'm happy to be back. I'm gonna make some hay in my division. We all working towards high stakes, so that's what I'm doing. So
I certainly hope the old King Flair is back and we get you on some shows, some back in the 3 chain days that you had, because that's the Flair we need to see in the Dynasty.
We got some surprises coming. I feel like it's you and nobody else. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's some other guys out there, but you definitely have elevated to the top of the line. So I like the fact what you're doing with content. I love with the DML, and I love everybody's else content. And friendly competition, man.
Hey, no doubt. All right, guys, that is King Flair and those Pittsburgh Steelers. We're gonna let him get back to his busy life. He's got something going on. That's just how King Flair is. Appreciate you jumping on. All right, guys. Next up, a guy that I didn't think I would bring on the bye week, but he's been reaching out. He wants to jump on. He wants to talk about his squad. So we're going to let bygones be bygones. Next up, it's the Patriots and the homie Schemer. What's going on, Schemer?
What's going on?
All right, man. You've made it on to the bye week. It's the big time. Hopefully you can conduct yourself appropriately. But let's talk New England Patriots. Do the Patriots make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, the Patriots can make the playoffs, but with a little bit of help.
You just need a little bit of help or a lot of help?
And you can say a lot. I mean, things about going into this playoff stretch right now, a lot of playoff contenders are playing each other, so somebody's going to be sitting at home. I could be one of them because I got to play the Jacksonville Jaguars
yes,
and the Atlanta Falcons.
And you got the Falcons and the Jags left on the schedule. And those are 2 very, very tough games. I know the homie Nasty Noop and the Falcons have not had the season he wanted. But you get a chance to play the Jags next week and you play the Falcons. Do you have to win both of those games to make the playoffs?
Yes.
So if you lose one of those games, the Patriots are done and you miss the playoffs again.
I'm done because the Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers are already at 9-5.
Yes, sir.
So
yes, sir.
I won't be able to reach 9 wins. And that tie come back to bite me.
So that tie with the Raiders is going to hurt. What other game on the schedule? Let's talk. The Jets game, you had the Jets game wrapped up. And you make a late bad decision and throw the interception and let him get the ball back and go back down and score. And then you had the tie right after that. That little 2-stretch run there might be the difference between making the playoffs and losing the playoffs. But there is a game on this schedule that I know you had circled as a win that came back and bit you pretty hard. And that's the game versus the comeback king himself, C-Rob and the Panthers. What happened in that game that caused this defense to just forget how to cover?
Well, it's like playing somebody new. I remember playing you the first time, the Jets. The Jets beat me like 35-0. And after that was like beat me like 3 points.
Yeah.
7 points. I think playing the Panthers, I wasn't familiar with what he was going to do. I tried to get to his quarterback. I saw that, people had been blitzing him with success, but he was ready. He likes to run the ball. He played pretty well against McCaffrey at times, but man, like I said, when the game came out, the Panthers had one of the best teams with inside numbers. One bad move and you're beat.
Yeah.
When you got receivers, Sounders, you got Moore, it's just a lot of speed to contain over there. So we was uncomfortable on defense, but I knew I can score on him, and we missed a late field goal that cost us the game.
Yep.
So it was gonna be a shootout. Once he set the tempo early, I was like, okay, we're in for a shootout.
Yeah, and that's what it was. And then you lose to the Dolphins right after that, 14-13. 2 games that and most of your losses have been kind of like that. They've been close, minus the game versus Addy 5 and the Saints where he gave you the donut. Other than that, every single game you've played has been close. But let's talk a little bit about this roster, because you're getting old in some spots, Schemer, that you're going to have to make some decisions on. You got Andrew Luck, 31 years old at quarterback. You got, an aging wide receiver core with Alshon Jeffrey, Jalen Strong, and Randall Cobb. Do you feel like, you're going to have some rebuilding time, or do you think you have options in this draft to go and find replacements for some of these veterans?
Well, I feel going into the draft, it won't be this year, but my backup quarter, I know that, Andrew Luck, he'll be there for the long run. But when he gets hurt, like he's done this year, a couple of games, he got hurt in the first quarter, had to go out, I need to get a backup quarterback. So when he goes out, then I can have a backup to come in and do just as well. Now, in the receiving core, it's a little bit younger than people think. Don't expect Carl to be around or Alshon Jeffries. That's just insurance. They're not even starters right now. Strong is like the go-to guy, and I picked up Josh Malone, who I'm familiar with. I also got DeMarcus Roach out of the draft. He's 22 years of age.
Yep.
Already, making strides. So we've already 1 year ahead of the game in that category. So I like the receiver position right now, the way we're looking. 27, 25, and 22 is not bad. The other guys are just veterans sitting on the bench for insurance purposes.
You got some aging linemen at 28, 30 years old, and not really backups in those spots. So really your offense is going to have some overhaul going forward. Is that just, you kind of slept on this offense. Guys were playing well in certain spots. You didn't bring those backups in. We always talk here in the Dynasty that this is a chess game. It's not checkers. You have to always be thinking about that next guy, because at any point Andrew Luck goes down, then the backup's got to come in, and he's got to play significant minutes on this football team. And unfortunately, Danny Etling is not the guy coming out of LSU at 62 overall that can really come in and do the things that Andrew Luck can do. Is that one of the things Schemer has to change going forward, knowing how competitive the Dynasty is, where you got to have depth on this roster?
That is correct. Etling, I picked him up because I was familiar with his throws. He played well, in practice, on the practice field. He displayed some ups and downs, but I figured just good enough as a backup. For us, the O-line, that's what we need to address now. I like the size that we have, because I like guys that are maulers, around 330 pounds plus. I don't like guys who are 295 or whatever. Trent Brown is definitely a staple. I like Sharp. But the left side has to prove itself. You see two young guys over there, at the left tackle spot. Berrien, I like him more so. Ingram is okay, but can I find someone in the draft better than them? Yes, probably so. And then you got Gilbert, who's also a Pro Bowl type center, 0 sacks this season. So he's definitely showing why I put him there, 90 awareness. So, but you can't play forever. He has to be replaced. So the center position is definitely something that I want to replace, whether I can get a right tackle, guard, or whatever center. The center will be replaced this season here.
All right, one more thing. You and the homie SJ kind of got into it today, Schemer. What was that about?
Well,
you made a roster move. You made a roster move, put a guy at safety. Who did you move to the safety position?
A guy named Hunter.
Zach Hunter. Uh-huh.
Yes. I drafted Hunter, just for that reason. Just like, a lot of fast safeties out there. I got Elijah Campbell. He's okay. But I felt we needed to make a move. He was a cornerback at first, but he had like 70 zone and man. He was strong enough to be a safety, so I took my chances. He has 8 interceptions at this time, so I figured it'd be a better fit for safety as opposed to being corner.
Yeah, and you do have some corners. I mean, you still got, Stephon Gilmore still playing.
Yeah.
You drafted Daniel McLean a couple years ago. Bryce Callahan's kind of in your slot. You got Eric Rose still, a good slot corner that can come in and play. You got Keon Crossland. So you got some good corners.
Yeah.
My question was, is how come you haven't developed the young guys at the corner, at the safety position? You got Brandon Wilson. who's got the speed to play. You got Devin Molden. And so that's kind of where you got to try and find a way to get these younger guys. Of course, at free safety, you got Marcus Williams, who's just a beast right now for you at free safety. But you got to find a way to get these younger guys developed because, and I'm fixing to give you some free chicken, I shouldn't. But if you develop now, when you get to high stakes, the more you develop young players now, the easier it is for you to find a way to win ball games when guys get hurt. If you just rely on one guy at strong safety to carry, and then Zach Hunter goes down, and then Brandon Wilson has to come in as a 65 overall, he's not going to be able to come in and step in right now. So you got to find a way to start developing these guys. And that's one thing you got to change, Schemer, because in the Dynasty, the regular season is one thing. Once you get in the playoffs, man, you're playing the best of the best. And to get to that Elite Eight in the high stakes is going to be so important because you want to get locked in. Are those some things you gotta address here in New England going forward?
Oh, without a doubt. We feel like, depth, for, like you said, the safety spot definitely can use some improvement. I got strong safety. I think we're fine right now. I think, based on roster movement and roster change rules or whatever, I think Hunter is a keeper unless there's a rule change or whatever. Yeah. I think right now at the safety spot, we definitely don't need to change the starters. My secondary is pretty young. McLean, he's a youngster. He's a staple. Now I could drop another corner at some point in time because Gilmore, I'm kind of using that Patrick Peterson method. Patrick Peterson is 32 still with 92 speed. So if Gilmore can continue to play well,
absolutely,
give me a little more time to develop that.
Yeah.
So definitely, you can never have enough pieces. I see what you're saying. You may have a nice starting core, but what you gonna do when somebody go down that stretcher? Oh my
there
goodness.
It is.
You gotta have somebody ready.
Yep. All right,
man.
My
kicker's old too.
Yeah. What you got for the Dynasty before you get out of here, Schemer?
Good luck, fellas. Have fun this off season. Look forward to seeing some good games. It's the best league ever. And good luck in your draft and your playoff stretch.
All right, no doubt. All right, man. Appreciate the Schemer jumping on, talking about his Patriots. We're going to let him get out of here and bring our last guest in. Before we bring our last guest in, I want to remind you guys that the mock draft is live now on the DML network. Schemer and the Buses Running put their mock draft out. Make sure if you have not seen it yet that you go over there and see that and subscribe to the DML network so you can be up to the minute for things going on here in the Dynasty. All right, last one up. And this is a special one because it's the boss, Nasty Noop, and his Atlanta Falcons. What's going on, Dion?
Not too much, man. Happy to be here.
All right, man. Let's talk Atlanta Falcons. What can we do to get this Falcon team playing like it was circa, 2016? When Nasty Noop was one of the top guys in the Dynasty.
Well, I'll be honest with you, XPERT. I think we're headed back in that direction. It's taken me a little while to figure out who I am in this game and what I can do in this game, and I think it's coming together in this season. Now, currently we're sitting at 7-7, but I believe we can actually have had 10 wins this season. 3 games, towards the end, some Madden BS came into it, and I felt like I lost those games based off of that. But I'm putting everybody on notice, man, that the Falcons are coming, man, because I'm in the lab constantly. My time is not as, stretched as it has been over the last 2 cycles. And hopefully I can get into a groove, man, and get things going. Just looking at my offense right now, I'm the 11th offense in the DML with the 8th overall defense. And we're back to who we need to be. The problem I've had, and I'll be very honest with you, I was trying to keep up with the Joneses. Everybody is just throwing the ball all willy-nilly. So I'm like, man, I got Julio. Everybody is asking why Julio is not in the top 5. You got Calvin Ridley on the other side. But that was messing me up, throwing interceptions. Now we're back to this ground and pound. You come to Atlanta, or I come to you, we're going to ground and pound you out. And when I catch you slipping, I'm going to catch you slipping.
Wow. That sounds like the old Falcons. But let's talk because, you and I talk quite a bit in the DM. And you like to hype these Falcons up. But let's talk real stuff. Matt Ryan, 36 years old. How many more seasons does he play?
He has On the books right now, for sure, he has one more season. He makes 17.5 million next year. The year after that, it goes to 20, and I just can't see paying him 20 million. If I can get rid of him next season, that's my goal. Because $17.5 million, man, is eating up a lot of cap that I could be using on multiple players to fill a lot of holes.
Okay, does that mean Henry Erickson is the answer in Atlanta?
No, sir. He's not. But at this point, all I need as a quarterback is to hand off the ball. Your job is just to hand off the ball, and we'll take it from there at this point. So,
well, let's talk about that running back, Devontae Freeman, 29 years old. How many more seasons do you got him, or does Ito Smith take over that role?
Freeman, I'm hoping I can get 2 more seasons out of him. Ito likes to put the ball on the ground too much. To me, he's a solid backup, but that's about it. So at some point, I'm gonna have to look at the draft, or I'm gonna have to look at free agency and see if I can get another running back in here that fits our scheme. That was one of the reasons that I got rid of Tevin Coleman and sent him to the Patriots. And as you see, just looking at the stats, Tevin Coleman is nowhere in the running for anything, just because he just doesn't have that wiggle in the hips that I like, and it's proven to be true up in New England.
Shout out to the homie Tevin Coleman bringing the Cosby for Deion back in Atlanta. But let's go right back down to roster. You mentioned the wide receiver number 11, Julio Jones. 32 years old. He's still doing it. Still got that 92 speed. But eventually he's going to have to go away. Do you have the receivers on this roster to take over and be that Julio Jones? I mean, Calvin Ridley definitely is a star, but is Sharp ready to step into that role? Or maybe, we know Trey Quinn can't step in there and be that guy. So another position, you're going to have to find some replacements.
Yes, that's something else that we're going to be having to look at free agency this coming up off season, because we called Sharp into the into the office this morning, to be exact, and we told him that we would be not re-signing his contract, and we wish him the best in the free agency market. He just didn't pan out being a good slot receiver for us, so we'll go ahead and move on from him. Julio has been balling this season, so I figure, man, maybe I can get 2 more seasons out of him, and then slide Calvin Ridley over into the number 1, and hopefully we can pick somebody up in free agency or the draft, like I stated earlier. But I know in the previous draft, our main focus was to build the offensive line, and I think we're missing maybe 1 or 2 more pieces on the offensive line to, solidify this power run game that we're trying to build in Atlanta. And then it's going to be very tough, man. Teams are going to really have to scheme and play defense to beat us, because a lot of teams in the division and a lot of teams that I went to face, they were so concerned with Julio and Calvin that they played deep. At this point, you're gonna have to play overall defense against us. You got to figure out how to stop this run, and then when you think you have that, then you're gonna have to worry about Julio and Calvin for these next 2 seasons.
All right, you do have a young offensive line. I'm not going to waste any time on your offensive line. You've done an amazing job drafting into those positions. But let's flip over to this defense, because you talked about your top 10 defense. And one of the things that really is helping you out, Nasty Noob, is this front 4. Bradley Gels, is he the real deal as much as you think he is?
He is let's go back to the 2020 draft. He is the best pass rusher, hands down, to come out of that draft. Now, there was some talk in the chat a few weeks back that Kerry from the 49ers was the best pass rusher to come out of it. Now, I know what that is. I know that that's hate coming from a division mate. But you look at the numbers even this season. Bradley Gels missed 5 games and is still sitting at 10.5 sacks. Kerry is sitting at 5 sacks up in Indianapolis. So you tell me, the numbers don't lie. Who is the better pass rush player to come out of that 2020 draft? And then you put Tack on top of that. I call them the Sack Brothers. Tack is leading the league with 19 sacks this season. All, going into the end of the season, hopefully we can, get that sack record, not the sack record, but lead the league in sacks and, make the Pro Bowl or whatever. And, it was some, I guess salt thrown my way that, it was because I was running the big G nickel. Well, that patch is long past us. And guess what? We're still putting up those same numbers. So you can't blame the patch anymore for me being able to get pressure on the QB. This is my defense. This is what helped me in Madden 16. When that front four can get pressure and you're able to play coverage and make people make decisions, make them make bad decisions, then you're able to have a top defense and you're able to play defense. You know, there are some games that the front four just does not show up, and I lose those games because of it. But, you know, I've got my eyes on this draft and a couple drafts, you know, to start getting some pressure up the middle to be you know, I want to get back to that number one defense, man, that I held back in 16.
Wow. How come nobody believes in Deion Jones at middle linebacker? I see him tested more than most middle linebackers, and he continues to perform. How come nobody respects that young man?
They just haven't got the memo. The memo is there. We're baiting you. That speed is crucial. Like I said, I finally figured out who I am and what we are, and I'm putting him in position to make great plays, and he's doing exactly what we need him to do. So the memo is out to the league. If you see Deion Jones in that area, don't throw the ball over there, because he's going to get it, and we're going to take it back to the house.
You're sitting at 7-7. You got two very winnable games coming up. You got the Bills and skill trade coming up next, and then you have the Patriots and an opportunity to finish the year 5 out of the last 6. Now, we're not going to go all the way back to the Cowboy game because for whatever reason, maybe it was a suspension. You know, maybe sitting Ryan and Freeman down hurt you. But the Cowboy game was ugly, and it was live ugly. But then you come back and you kind of put it on Kirk and the Packers. And then you had split games versus the Bucks. One at his place, one at yours. You got to win in both of those. And then you had that sandwiched with Matty Ice and Eagles, who's the top user in the Dynasty. Can Nasty Nuke finish 9-7 and go on a positive note heading into next season?
I believe so. But before I move on, let's talk about that Matty Ice game versus the
Let's
Eagles.
do it.
That
Okay.
should have been my game. I held his offense to basically nothing the entire game. He gets a punt return at the end of the game. Runs that back. I'm frustrated, sitting at my house. I'm cussing. I'm kicking, punching walls. I throw an interception. He runs it back. Other than that, that was my game. Madden gave him that kick return, that punt return for him to win that game. He'll tell you if he's gonna listen to this. He knows he lost that game. I have a game plan for every user I go into the game now, because I'm not even gonna say that. I'm gonna keep that to myself. But
let's talk. Matty Ice has 27 yards rushing in that game. He has 102 passing yards on 6 of 22, and you got beat because Matt Ryan threw 4 interceptions. If you control the turnovers in Atlanta, are you beating guys like Matty Ice on a regular basis?
I told him I'm coming. I'm coming for every user in the Dynasty that believes they're a top user. I don't care who you are, who you think you are. I'm coming for you because I'm focused. My time is not as tied up as it was in the past cycles. Hey, I'm coming. I'm gonna be very honest with you. The days that you think you coming to Atlanta or you playing Deion and you just gonna get an easy win, those days are over. And I put that on everything I love. Those days are over.
Okay, Nasty Noob. Now you open the can of worms, and I'm gonna dump them out on the table. Does that include the Comeback King and Addy 5, the bully, in your own division?
Hey, I don't believe in bullies. I'm a grown man. No other grown man bullies me. You look at our first game; it was 10-17, and I should have scored because, like I said, every user in this league has tendencies, and I'm hooked onto all those tendencies now. And when I catch you slipping, I'm gonna catch you slipping. So you can take it as me talking trash. You can take it as whatever you want to take it as. I don't care. I'm coming for everybody. The only people he bullies in this division are the Panthers and the Bucks. Because every time he plays me, he better bring his A game. Because I ain't playing that crap no more. I'm upset at this point because people think Nasty Noob is a pushover. So now I'm back in the lab. I'm grinding for real now. I got 5 seasons to get the high stakes to where I'm gonna raise the high stakes banners. Mark it down now. Mark the tape. I'm taking high stakes. I told you that in the DM. I told you I'm taking it. I'm not no more. This fake humble crap that people in this league like to do. No more of that. I'm telling you what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna tell you to stop me. That's what you can do. Stop me. If you don't want me to win it, stop me. Other than that, I'm coming.
January 25th, 2019 at 10:21 at night, Nasty Noob officially enters his hat into the ring as the high-stakes Super Bowl winner, and XPERT sits on the mic and prays that the Atlanta Falcons are on the schedule next year. I want to be a part of this rebuilding process to remind you that you're not a pushover, but you not beating the top guys in this league. But I like this Nasty Noob. I certainly hope this is the old Nasty Noob we get back. But the proof will be in the games next year. You definitely had a better season this year than you've had in past. And I certainly hope that is true, that you are getting back in the lab and starting to figure guys out. But you're going to have to find a way to beat that bully over there.
Once again, there is no bully. There is no bully here. If those other two grown men want to call him a bully, call him a bully. Call him a bully. Yeah. But over here, there is no bully. Because
one of the other grown men has called him the bully. And he said it's your fault for bringing him into this division.
Hey, that's the only way you get good. When I was a kid growing up, I never fought anybody smaller than me. It was always fighting the person that was bigger than you, because you weren't gonna get no respect fighting a dude that was smaller than you. So if he wants to call him the bully, let's call him the bully. At some point, I'm gonna punch him in the mouth, and then we're gonna see how it goes at that point. But like I said, man, everybody in this league has their tendencies. They want to do the little post out, post in. Trust me, I'm ready for it all now, man. Ask Matty Ice. Everybody knows he loves the post. He loves it. He loves it. And I took it from him. Because guess what? You're going to have to adjust. Because Nasty Noob is studying. Nasty Noob knows how the defenses work in this game now. I know what I need to call to pretty much take away everything, and I'm gonna keep Deion Jones in the middle of the field, and I'm gonna dare you to throw the ball over the middle, because when you do, I'm going up to get it, and I'm taking it to the house.
I like it. If I was skilled trade or schemer, I would be in the lab right now getting ready for these Atlanta Falcons to come see you. Okay, you've said a lot. Anything else you got for the Dynasty before we get out of here?
Hey, man, I just want everybody to know I've got that fire in my gut again, man. I've lost it since 16, trying to be the commish, build out the league, worried about how people think I play the game. Those days are over, man. I just don't care no more, man. It's time to get back to winning. It's time to raise another banner. It's time to put my name again in the history books. I have cared about everybody else's feelings. Just don't care about that no more, man. It's time for me to get back to the top of the mountain where I belong, man.
All right, guys, that's the homie Nasty Noob and those Atlanta Falcons, man. Appreciate you jumping on the show. Always good when I get to commish to jump on, but that's going to do it for us. If you have the Falcons on the schedule, be ready, because the old Nasty Noob is back. This is the bye week. On behalf of the DML Network, it's your boy XPERT, and I'm out.